Did your little storm knock out the power? Well, excuse me for not noticing.
Hate to disappoint you, Old Man Winter. Better luck next time.
If the power goes out, your Generac standby generator goes on, automatically.
Down trees? Flash floods? Is that all you've got?
Stand up to the threat of outages with Generac and never feel powerless.
Welcome, race fans, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fender Truck Series for a very, very special race night tonight here at Phoenix International Speedway. We have got what we call the 2017 Winners Only Race. These are the best of the best of the best for 2017 in Domino's TYJ Racing. As always, we are broadcast live on All Pro Broadcasting. Fans, make sure you click the subscribe button. We are going to give you the details of how to win that free large Domino's pizza. Real quick, I called in an order for last week's winner, Mark Jackson Jr. He ordered a large Canadian bacon, sausage, and bacon. I can almost still taste that cheese and the bacon and the crust on that pizza. I'm sure those guys enjoyed it. You get your chance to win that coming up soon. We'll give you the details. Welcome in the booth tonight are two of my very, very best friends here in Domino's TYJ Racing, Judd Danielson and Ray Richard. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Robert.
Even Robert, even Judd, Ray Richard here, and welcome to the desert out in Arendelle, Arizona. 1 mile track. It's actually a little bit different configured than your normal oval. It'll actually have almost like a dog leg down the back chute, and a lot of people see the new one where it's opened up on the asphalt. In other words, these guys can go down into that asphalt, but there's a little bit of a trick this evening. When they opened it up originally, they had cones back there and wouldn't allow your vehicle below it. Now these guys have got the same identical setup. The minute they get those tires on the inside of the cones, you have a penalty. Unfortunately, it'll be like a stop and go inside the pits. Tonight, we give you a lineup, like Robert was saying, the winners, the best of the best. But tonight has a twist. First of all, if you've ever been to your local track, they have an enduro race. Enduro races have absolutely zero cautions, which means if somebody spins, somebody wrecks, whatever happens, they just sit there and car goes around them. A little bit different tonight. These guys don't have any cautions on whatsoever. So if they do wreck or get out, they'll have to get their stuff fixed as quick as possible. I don't believe, now Robert, if you can answer me this, I don't believe there's any quick fixes tonight, is that?
That is correct. You race what you bring. You conserve your tires. You conserve your fuel. You get to the finish before everybody else, and that's where the smarts comes in. Not only do we have the very fastest drivers who have won races this year, but the winner tonight is going to come from a school of smarts.
Now the other thing is take care of your tires, take care of your fuel. They'll get about a 50-lap run here. It's a 200-lap race, of course, 200 miles, 200 laps, 1 mile track. And with that being said, obviously 4 stops, but a lot of guys can make it to the end on only 3, depending on how they use their fuel. Not only just not having any cautions and 50% fuel, but they only have 1 lap of qualifying, which is obviously is a little bit different, because you get the truck wound up that first lap, hit the second one, and you just go for it. But tonight, a lot different. There's one last thing to take and be involved in this race this evening. There's points taken away when you do things in iRacing. So in other words, you hit another guy, hit a wall, and you get what they call an X. So if you hit it hard enough, you'll get up to a 4X, a 6X, an 8X. A 1X is okay. So here's the deal. You hit a wall, hit a guy, get into a wreck, 6 X's tonight, iRacing will kick you out of the race. this isn't just for the best of the best to have everybody having bragging rights, but Judd, tell us the payout for the top 3, if you would. This is actually money on the line this evening.
Sure, Ray. We've got the Clash in the Past 200. That's what we're going to do tonight. So what we decided we were going to bring, the first place is going to get $50, $50. Second place is going to get $25. Third place is going to get $10. Here's the kicker. You got to have a throwback on. You got to have a throwback on that truck. First, second, third place. That's it. That's what we're going to do. We're shooting for that tonight.
Most of your trucks this evening, again, there's 17 guys going to be on track. Right now, all the way down to Ryan Hill in the 10th spot at 28.528 on qualifying, have qualified. I did watch Eric Stanford for a little bit, but unfortunately, Eric Stanford hit the wall, had to restart his qualifying position, and I think he did the same thing on his second try when he reset. See, if you're in the middle of the first lap and you reset, you can reset all your standards. So when you hit a wall, though, it discontinues that qualifying lap. So again, right now, from 11th on down, I don't see any qualifying times whatsoever, so I'm assuming people screw up their first lap. One of the guys to keep an eye on this evening will be the 14 of James Ross. Right now, he's got 11 wins at the top of the board. Obviously, he's very welcome to be here. It looks to be the second place of Mark Jackson right now in our point standings. Again, not much talking about points as much as we are talking about wins, who has 3 wins this season in the number 3 truck. But it looks like Mark will start in the top 5, and it should be a fun night. What do you think there, Judd?
Yeah, obviously these guys, some of them maybe chose not to qualify at all and just decided that they're going to take this thing from being green a little bit, let's say. The idea here is to use your head a little bit. Figure out what you can do to make 3 stops on this thing. We know that it's going to be difficult. We know that. But at the end of the night, we'll see which guys have the smarts and the speed and can keep their trucks from having that 6X. That's going to be the tough one. So how many guys are going to get pushy? How many guys are going to sit tight and just ride it out? We're going to find out here in about 3 minutes.
Absolutely. Looks like the lineup's going to be happening here in just another 10 seconds or so. We'll go down through the lineup for you, and we'll set this starting grid for tonight's Clash in the Past 200. Looks like right now the 98 of David Washington with a time of 228.174 was the fastest. Obviously just 1 lap. He's not far off his time for practice. He's at the top of the board there in practice at 28.181. Looking to see when they grid here, trying to find him. There we go. Shane Parrish will start on the outside of the front row at 28.284. Not too far off the pole. Josh Bonwell in that Pepsi throwback scheme. Looks like he's trying to follow Darrell Waltrip's steps tonight. Will start in the 3rd position. Mark Jackson, as we mentioned, 2nd in points right now in the league. Again, not points night. A lot to go for, though, on the line for a top 3. He'll start in the 4th place. 5th place will be Blake Griffith in the number 7. Gerald Campbell in the 60. He starts in the 6th place on the outside of the 3rd row. The inside of the 4th row will be Curtis Young. Many wins in the 2016 season, but only a few here in the 2017. James Ross in the 8th position in the 51 truck. The Hooters machine of Alan Kowicki throwback scheme. In the 9th position will be William Roberts Jr., and topping out your top 10 will be a 55 of Ryan A. Hill. From 11th on down, Tanner Tellerico in the number 1 machine. He's actually one of our faster trucks this evening. Again, a couple wins on the board. Looking at, let me see, Tanner Tellerico in our standings right now. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble trying to find him. That's okay, not a big deal. We'll keep going here. Eric Stanford will start on the outside of the 6th row in the 12th position. Andrew W. Payne, the 93 machine, in the 13th place. 14th on down. Judd actually did not qualify, so he's not here tonight. Well, he's in the booth with me, so he went out and did a few test laps earlier. On the outside, or actually on the inside, in the 15th place will be the 42 of David Wright. 15 of Jeff T. Martin here will be in the 16th position. Nick Reynolds and Robert McFarland will take and round out your top 17. Now, that'll stack the grill up for this evening. Again, 200 laps. Save a lot of give and take this evening. No more give than there is take. I'll tell you, Judd, they got to be very, very, very careful with these trucks not to get kicked out of this race.
Yeah, the one thing I'm noticing here, we have a track temperature of 107 degrees, so it's a partly cloudy afternoon. This weather's not going to change a whole lot, but this track is going to go through some serious transitions with this rubber getting laid down. So keep an eye on these guys and what that wall does to them with this dog leg not being open. It's going to get tight down in that corner.
Yes, sir. One other thing, we're going to do a ride in the cockpit from the 4th place truck on the start of the race here with our great friends at All Pro Broadcasting, Michael D'Amico. Fans enjoy these first 3 laps from the cockpit of the 4th place truck. Thank you, Judd. Thank you, Ray. I'm shutting up now.
Enjoy yourself out there, Robert. Rob will be broadcast from the truck as much as he can tonight. Green flag is out,
Here we go.
and we're off to a great start. David Washington with a great start on the inside of the front row, already down to the bottom of the side, and Shane Parrish within the second place spot. The view from Mark Jackson's truck, though, a little bit to the outside. He's running that throwback scheme from Dale Jr., taking that outside line, making sure there's plenty of room on the bottom side just in case that Winn-Dixie truck of the 60 of Gerald Campbell wants to get through there.
Yeah, we can watch these guys and let the fans enjoy their surround sound for the next 3 laps. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the cockpit view.
As you can see, when he goes down to turn 1, there's cones up on the fence. That'll give him a lifting point when they go into the corners. Now, again, that lifting point will go farther back, and that actually happens as you see down through here in the transition on the backstretch. He doesn't want to touch them cones. That'll cause him a penalty. There's the cones again. 3, 2, 1. Into the corner he'll go. He'll lift at the first cone. Obviously stacking up with the first top 5, and David Washington seems to be pulling away to a good 3 or 4 truck lead ahead of him. There's the cones again, down to turn 1. He'll lift just between the first and second cones. That'll happen most of the night with these guys, especially when they got to get the front end down. What'll end up happening when they go into the corner, they'll lift a lot. They'll let the compression of the motor push the front end down. That'll give them a front bite just for a little bit, and when they want to roll back into the throttle and push the weight to the back tires, obviously give them bite, but it'll also take weight off the front tires and start to kind of push the truck out. So they got to be very careful once these tires start to wear.
Yeah, I think these temperatures are really going to test these boys tonight. These guys are really going to have to keep their hands on these wheels. Those front tires are going to go away quick.
Absolutely, Judd. I'll tell you right now, too, if you look in the rearview mirror, Mark Jackson's got a nice little glazed star white and blue helmet, so it gives you a nice perspective of what these guys are looking at this evening. And, of course, the rearview mirror also does the same. I see that 60 of Gerald Campbell going to that outside line. He doesn't seem to have a good arc there, so it'll stay to the outside. He'll lose a little bit of strength behind him, but, again, he'll try to gain that back down to turn 1. Another lap around the track, go up towards the wall. These guys get real close to that blue stripe, get down as close as they can to cut off as much track as they can there. Again, back to the cones. He'll lift between the first and second, kind of arc through the corner, get down to that yellow line, get back to the throttle, and slowly roll up. He gets to the back end of Blake Griffin. Blake was a little late in the throttle there, and it kind of held up Mark Jackson a bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, guys, they're already getting loose coming off of turn 4. I've only got 6 laps in. So, yes, sir, Judd, this track and the weather and these tires are going to be a handful before these guys come down pit road.
Yeah, I've just been kind of admiring some of these paint jobs. We've got, the Pepsi machine, number 56, Josh Bonwell tonight, and we talked about number 3 in the old, he's got the pad running on there, the old Dale Earnhardt paint scheme there, Budweiser Junior car, or truck. So we got Winn-Dixie. It looks like we've got some Lowe's and some Quaker State. These boys really went all out.
Keep in mind, anybody with those throwback paint schemes are eligible for the top 3 payout. No point.
We got a little bit. 81 in the wall.
81 of Shane Parrish. He'll scrub the wall. Not sure how many X's he's got there. If it was above a 6, he would be immediately ejected. Keep in mind, no cautions. With that being said, though, if somebody did tap him, which, again, I can't see from here, somebody did get him, there is a claim at caution. So, for example, say the 15 of Martin tapped him. Martin can call it. He can go in, take a spot in his pit stall for just about a second, pull it back out in the track and go. So that'll keep him from serving a penalty during the next actual point or non-points event. Excuse me.
Now, it looks to me like we had the number 7 and the 81 fighting for that bottom line, and I think they just kind of came together, and that real estate got real tight.
Does happen, especially at a track like this. Short track racing is like that, especially under a mile. Lots and lots of fun here. Eric Stanford at 24, he'll take that outside line. Allow the 42 of David Wright and that old mellow yellow machine of Kyle Petty's get low. They're still door-to-door going down the back chute. They'll head down to turn 3, arc it around to turn 4. Stanford's got the advantage, especially on that outside wall. 42 is supposed to come up, and he'll allow him to take that place right there, but he'll fight back down the front chute.
Yeah, good work on the outside by Eric Stanford there.
Yeah, that's a very difficult line to run, Judd, especially here and when a tire starts to wear. You got to take it real easy with that throttle because you can spin them tires in a heartbeat. Even though these things got about 750 horsepower to them, that's still enough to get that rear end brake loose.
Yeah, I just noticed a couple laps after I got loose, the 54 of Nick Reynolds, same exact thing. Went off for turn 4. He was right in front of me. He got loose. He was able to correct it. He did not make contact, I don't think, with any of the walls in that number 54 Nick Reynolds machine, so he's able to continue. But these guys are going to have to continue to be careful coming off these corners as the laps wind on.
That old machine there, the Hooters machine of the 51 of James Ross.
We got a really good battle going here between the 24/7 and the 51 right now.
Yeah, those three guys have been packing it up the past couple of laps. They go down the front chute. That 7 goes to the inside. Blake Griffith trying to get that inside line. But, well, he's there. Eric is allowing him to be on it inside. Again, the old Federated Auto Parts truck of either, let's see, take a pick. Or so we got a truck into the wall. In the back stretch, looks like the 54 of Nick Reynolds. Unfortunately, he went head on into that wall. That would probably be at least a good 2 or 4X. No cautions. Keep that in mind. We'll have to rewind a little bit and take a look and see if...
Here, so that 24, sorry about that, would be Eric Stanford. The 7 is Blake Griffin, the guys. And the other truck, I can't remember you mentioned, the name of the driver.
The 54, by the way, of Nick Reynolds.
Here we go.
You know, he hit that apron with his left front tire, and unfortunately, he just headed it right into the wall real hard. I don't think that's going to end his night, but again, no quick repairs. He's going to have to try to get that fixed a little bit before he comes back out.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, guys. I'm running the more conservative line and the more conservative approach on this track in my Sharpie number 97. And I can already tell you after just 13 laps, I've got the leader, the number 98 of Dave Washington, about 10 seconds back, and he is coming fast.
Do a quick little off the top of my head driver profile, the 97 of Robert McFarland. One of the things that we've never done with him actually before, because he usually does it for the other drivers. Robert McFarland resides in Raleigh, North Carolina, been involved in Domino's TYJ Racing for, well, since it began. He's the owner, operator, chief cook, and bottle washer of this place, and I'll tell you what, he does a fantastic job week in and week out. Robert owns a newer Mustang, not exactly sure what year it is off the top of your head, but you can correct
14.
me on that. 2014, and well, he's trying to save up the money and earn it here for a supercharger for that thing. So, well, he's doing a fantastic job this evening. Got no X's, keeping it on the track. And, well, we're down to about 8 seconds before the leader catches him.
What are you seeing, Judd?
Actually, I'm up front here watching the 98, just kind of seeing what he's doing. And Josh is, obviously keeping his distance, but he's trying to hang in there. He's trying to hang in there. I don't know that anybody's going to have much for Washington on this first stint. We'll see what happens after this. The fuel gets burned off, and these guys are going to need to get some tires. So
17. Sorry, Judd, go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just saying we're far from a race being decided at this point. So it looks like David Washington's being fairly conservative. These gentlemen are definitely going to have to do some math tonight to figure out how they're going to get to the end.
Yeah, right now Josh Bonwell is being 1.8 seconds back behind the leader. That actually went down last lap, 1.7. So we're not sure if David Washington's tires are falling off or Josh just decided to stay on the go pedal a little bit more. But one thing, you can be part of this race this evening. We give away, as we do every week, one large 3-topping Domino's large pizza. So all you have to do is this. It's pretty simple. You watch this race from beginning to end. Not too hard to do. But you guess at mid-race who the winner is. So in other words, lap 100, because this is 200 laps, you guess the winner. And how you guess the winner is this. You text your info and your guess to 919-883-7497. I'll give that number. It should be on the screen right now, 919-883-7497. But when you guess this winner at lap 100, there's no more guesses. You can only guess one person, one guess per person per evening. If you win it, you will be announced at the end of the race, and we will take and send you a gift certificate for your local Domino's large 3-topping pizza.
You can also comment in the live chat, fans, if you're watching on your device, which we hope you are. And if you are watching on your device, we ask you to click the subscribe button for All Pro Broadcasting. All the drivers, all the fans that do that, you will not have to worry about missing any of these races or chances to get that free pizza. So if you're watching on your device, say, I choose this driver. If you get one choice, take your time. You can wait till lap 90, 95, 97, make one pick, and the winner will be announced at the conclusion of the race tonight. Thank you, Ray and Judd.
Absolutely. There's one.
Yeah, we have another benefit going on. If you want to get your hat in the chance to win $200, You also want to be one of the subscribers for All Pro Broadcasting. I'll give you some more details in just a few seconds.
With all this being said, Josh Bonwell, I've been keeping my eye on him for the past couple laps. That lead is now down to 1.6 seconds. At the line, still shows 1.604. Excuse me, that went back up to 1.7. Josh's mom, I know you're watching this evening like she watches every week. Josh is doing a killer job. What I'm thinking is happening, Judd, is that Josh has been kind of real conservative with everything he's doing, and David is just kind of pounding on it a little bit. I think he's going to wear his tires out quicker enough to take and let Josh get them to him. Right now, lap 22, he's got another 27 laps before we assume is going to be pitting around that area. I think 45 to 50 laps when we're going to have a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ray. Okay, I was watching Josh go around Robert there, so I've been keeping an eye on Mark Jackson as well. I think he's just kind of feathering it through there. He's going to have himself a decent run tonight. If they can come up with the numbers and make him crunch right, keep those hides under him, we're going to see Mark running up front as well. So I think David's just kind of messing with these boys right now, to be honest with you. Right?
Oh, absolutely. He's one of the best that we've always had out here, and he's a fantastic driver, very courteous, very nice guy all the way around. He even helps our drivers during practice every week to help us with the line to figure it out. But I will tell you, Mark Jackson, highly agree with that. Right now, he's 3 seconds behind the leader, about maybe just under 0.9 seconds back from Bonwell. But with that being said, behind him, Gerald Campbell in the 60 machine. He is at least 2.5 seconds back, roughly, behind the 3, which means if this was to go green to the end right now, obviously right now Mark Jackson would get the $10 in the third place spot. But again, we've got at least 3 pit stops that's going to happen, and with all that being said, that could shuffle this up in a hurry, especially if they go on different laps.
Yeah, just remember, this is Phoenix, and that pit lane is a real bear. You guys are going to have to be spot on getting in there.
Yeah, it's real tight. What it comes down to is when you turn around and come off of turn 4, the pit lane is right there, and you got to turn the wheel pretty decent to get around that flat corner to begin with. Well, with that being said, the pit lane's down there. The minute you turn it, if your tires are wore, you're not going to get in there very easily.
That's right. That's right.
Going back to right now, 5th place, 94 of Curtis Young. Watching him, he's right up in the tail end of the 60 Winn-Dixie machine of Gerald Campbell. He's trying to get around him to the outside. He'll try it, but right on his bumper, he'll go again. Right in front of him, Robert McFarland going high, let these two boys go low. 94 machine of Curtis Young with the pink rims, by the way, for October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Very good on that. Curtis will chase down the 60 of Gerald Campbell down the front chute. Right in the tire tracks, he'll go again, but lose a little bit of ground there. Half back, now 1 back. Got to follow him around a little bit because, again, with these tires being a war, the different line isn't going to work all that easy. '94 machine Lowells of Curtis Young again trying to get around that 60 of the Winn-Dixie machine. Gerald Campbell, they still try to follow each other around the track. He's tried a couple different lines, but with no avail, just not enough to make it stick. Behind him, the 9 of William Roberts Jr. in a back throwback machine of Quaker Steak and Lube, I'm so used to saying Quaker Steak and Lube. Quaker Steak and Lube machine, I would assume, of Ron Hornaday Jr., I think, from a year ago, or years ago anyways. Regardless, beautiful machine nonetheless. He's doing a great job keeping it up in 6th place. Going back through the field a little bit to 55, Ryan Hill, who has a bunch behind him. I'll tell you, they're going to catch up to Robert McFarland here in about another lap. Robert's going to let him go below him, most likely. We got a truck going on pit lane. That'd be the 51 right now of James Ross. He takes it real early down to the pit lane. We'll see what goes on here.
I tell you what, I got a bumblebee hive of trucks, fast trucks behind me. I'm not trying to keep them behind me. I'm just trying to keep from having any kind of issues. I'm running my race. These guys are running their race. I think they've run their tires off, and mine are pretty much halfway shot as well. The strategy here is starting to heat up, guys.
I believe the 51 of Ross has exited the field here somewhere. Not exactly sure why, but that's all right. It still comes out to a good race. We've still got 14 trucks led on the track at this moment in time. Only track a lap down will be Mr. McFarland, but that's okay. Still doing his best to have fun, keep it out there. Behind him, he's going to have a challenge to the 7 to Blake Griffith. Behind him, the 24 of Eric Stanford. Stanford's trying to get low on him. He's going to let him go through the inside. A little high on Stanford right now, following Roberts' tracks. Almost going to make it 3 wide, but not going to happen here. He'll go down to turn 1, follow that 7 through. Try to get back on the throttle on the high side without tapping the wall coming out of the turn. He'll be a little bit close. right back in the tracks, going down, cutting off a few more feet of that back turn. Again, not trying to consider a turn, but down the back chute, not touching the cones. They'll go down to 3 and come down through the front chute.
Yeah, Ray, I got to believe that the rubber's getting laid down pretty good here on this track now. With this temperature being so high, these tires have got to be just screaming for a home to go to. They want to get off this track so bad.
Got to agree with you 110%.
I mean, we're sitting at 32 laps right now. These tires they've been getting pretty abused. These guys, all they know is the go pedal. You know, this is what we do for fun with this Domino's TYJ Racing League. We go fast, we go hard, we don't wait. So.
Oh, just coming off of turn 4, don't interrupt you, Judd, but the 94 of Curtis Young, he got around the 60 of Gerald Campbell, but he got sideways coming off of 4. We were just talking about tires, as you were saying, and man, that rear end just came out from underneath him. He was able to gather it back up and still hold that position right now, being in 4th place.
Yes, guys, if you let Mr. D'Amico know, I'm in the sim racing. He's got a message for me. I cannot respond to it.
I'm sure he heard that, Robert. Again, monitoring the program as he does every week with the great camera angles he provides. I'll tell you what, to the outside, he'll try it again. The 60 of Gerald Campbell will try to get back by the 94, but not enough oomph on that outside line again. Once Curtis gets a line ahead of everybody and he's got clear path, he'll take it and he'll get it to the front. He's got a long way to go yet. He's got 4 seconds to catch up to the 3 of Mark Jackson. Again, pit stop should be coming in the next 10 laps. Got a couple of radio chatters there we're listening to. Judd, Brian A. Hill just commenting. He says he kind of wishes that they kept the cones off the backstretch. You see, that's an option with this track, just so you know, in iRacing, to keep them on or off. But now that they're there, these guys can't go down as low as the wall on the inside of the track. If they do, they get a penalty because that's the exit to pit road below them cones, and obviously the groove is on the high side. So it makes it even more challenging this evening. Again, no cautions whatsoever. X points are in play, and well, they're stretching out up front.
You know, one of the things is we didn't really let the drivers know a whole lot of what was coming this week. We gave them some basic information, and we put a short little practice together for them tonight. So they came into this thing pretty blind, and having those cones up, Domino's TYJ Racing, you know, normally in our season we will pull those cones so we can have the dog leg open for the regular racing season, but. We're just going to change it up on these boys. You know, these guys have all worked hard to get these wins, whether they've got 11 wins, 1 win, 13 wins. It doesn't matter. These guys have all earned an opportunity to be here tonight. We put a decent little amount of money on the line for them to come out here and show us what they can really do.
I mean, $50. Put it this way, Joe, it'll buy a couple tracks and vehicles in iRacing as far as I can see. I mean, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, it'll make you host a few ones, too. But going back right now to the 8th place, watching that 7 of Blake Griffith and Eric Stanford and also David Wright. David's trying to get below that 7 many, many times, but he shuts the door on almost every single lap. Stanford got around him about 3 laps ago. He'll take it up into the 7th position, but he's still got to catch Bonwell. Now, Bonwell I thought was saving, but now I see it. He's on pit road in his lap 38. We'll see what he gets here. The 15, by the way, of Jeff Martin's on pit road, 4 fresh rubbers. He'll head it back out with 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. Bonwell will bring it down to the 3rd pit stall. Right side of the truck we'll watch go up. Right-hand Goodyear tires going on as they turn around and put in the first. Now 2nd can of Sunoco fuel will go up on the left-hand side, 4 tires, and he's ready to get right back on the track.
Yes, sir. The pit stops have begun. This is exactly where and exactly when the crew chiefs from all these drivers is going to make a big difference. Some guys are racing hard. Some guys are racing conservatively. Number 9 of William Roberts Jr., David Wright, the 42, is coming down pit road now on lap 38, 39. It's going to be really exciting, fans, for you to be able to pick who's going to win that free pizza. And you better not pick yet, because you might have another pit stop before lap 100.
61 laps to make that pick. Right now, 60 and 94. Joe Campbell and Curtis Young watching them guys fight on the way out of the pit. They can race on their way out because the green flag's still out. Can't go above that yellow line right yet. If they do, they get penalized. They got to bring it back in. Right now, 4 fresh rubbers on both trucks. They'll come out just as they came in with a 94 ahead of the 60.
You guys, if you keep up with what's... Go ahead.
We got the 98 on pit road right now. Mark Jackson takes the lead.
Mark,
if you guys
got to be screaming by now, boy, like you were saying before, Judd. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, if you guys can keep up with the pit strategy here, let the fans know, because I know Mark Jackson is catching me to perhaps put me 2 laps down, but he's going to have to pit before I will, in my estimation.
Oh boy, the 24 of Stanford just came in. The 7 was thinking about it, and then finally he followed him in. He almost missed pit road. He hit the brakes, wiggled the truck a little bit, and now they're on pit lane as tandem. We'll see what happens here as they come down front to rear. Mark Jackson, your leader, as it point. He'll be in as well. Ryan A. Hill in the 55 will take over the top spot next time around. Of course, he has not pitted yet from what I've seen. I don't believe, or did he come in early, Judd? I don't remember on that. You?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's all right, not a problem, not a big deal. I know behind him in the 3rd place spot, moved up is Eric Stanford in the 24, but keep in mind, Eric is also on pit road right now, but that's not going to last very long. He'll get 4 fresh Goodyear rubbers like everybody else, full it up. He'll pull away from his pit stall, head it down to the end of pit road. The 7 was right behind him, and it'll come out the same exact way. I believe that 55 Hill has not been in yet. I could be wrong on that. Of course, tonight is definitely not a night to wait for a caution because there are none. Now, 10th place on back right now, the 9 of William Roberts Jr. He'll be down 1 lap at this point. David Wright in the 42, Jeff Martin as well. And, of course, Mr. McFarland's still out there. Robert, since you're inside the truck, have you made your pit stop yet?
Negative. I'm going to stretch this, try to make it on 3 stops only. I don't know if it'll work or not, but we'll know in a few more laps.
Well, if that's the case, he can stretch it out as far as he can. Now, by the way, with Robert still on the track, from 7th on down, Mark Jackson in the 3 will be 1 lap down as well. Only 6 trucks right now on the lead lap. Ryan A. Hill, your top spot. David Washington in 2nd. He looks like he's quite ways behind. I don't think Ryan has taken one yet because, I mean, David Washington's 20 seconds behind now, which would tell me that Ryan's still out there and not having any fuel or tires just yet.
Yeah, with second
ahead.
and third being 20 seconds, you know, it's pretty much saying that Ryan needs to, he might be running the Robert McFarland strategy here with him tonight.
Robert, you might have touched on something and maybe somebody heard you, and I think that may be Ryan A. Hill. We'll see exactly what happens here. Right now, Ryan's still leading the pack down the front chute. He is going to get passed by the 42 to get his lap back, which is David Wright. He was in the 8th position, still is. Again, with another lap to go. Of course, the 55 is really slow right now because he has to be. A little bit of a wrong move. I think he's announcing right now he may go pitting. I see it come up on the screen. He's letting a few guys go by. He'll go down to the bottom side. That'd be Stanford. Negative. He passes pit lane again for the 10th time. We'll see exactly what his pit strategy is going to come about. Lap 46 right now for the 55 machine. I'll tell you what, whatever strategy he's on, if it's going to work, he's pulling it off. I mean, the 7th car right now, Blake Griffith, he'll get his lap back. That'll put 10 trucks in the top lap. The 55 is pitting this time. Yep. And he just hit the cones coming down the back chute, by the way, Judd. It was not enough to make a penalty. The officials will reset them back up, so you'll see that next time around. The 55 Hill comes off the track. We already know what's going to happen here. 4 fresh Goodyears and 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. That'll give David Washington the lead right now. He'll come down to turn 3. And he'll come past Robert McFarland to put Mr. McFarland down, unfortunately, 2 laps at this point in the 12th position. Josh Bonwell right now looks to be I'm trying to do the calculation in my head quick, 2.4 seconds behind the 98 of David Washington because, actually, no, it's less than that. I'm sorry, 1.5 seconds behind David Washington. Sorry, a little bit of old math there. Wasn't really working that fast. But regardless, Josh Bonwell is doing a fantastic job keeping it up there. Right now will be the 2nd position. It'll be scored that when he hits the start-finish line. Curtis Young, quite a ways back. He did his pit about 2 laps after the guys in the front 2 did. And unfortunately, that's going to put him back, 6 seconds behind the leader. He's got a lot to make up and a little time to get there.
Well, don't look now, but the 94 has got himself up into the 3rd position here.
Not without a challenge from that 60, that Winn-Dixie truck of Gerald Campbell. Of course, between them, Shane Parrish in the 81 there. Shane is he's going to be actually the first truck 1 lap down. No lucky dogs tonight, unfortunately, but he's got to get up there to get his lap back, and he's got a little bit fresher tires by like 1 or 2 laps at this point. David Washington again back on the point. Josh Bonwell in 2nd, Curtis Young in 3rd. And your top 5 will be Gerald Campbell and the 9 of William Roberts Jr. But right now, the catbird seat belongs to Curtis Young. 2 seconds back is Gerald Campbell in the 60. Listen to a little bit of radio chatter there. Ryan A. Hill is doing a little, what do I want to saw it, competitive talking there about letting a couple guys go by. He's got some sort of strategy up his sleeve, Judd, and I think it's a 3 pit stop run.
Yeah, I think he wants to try the 3 pit stop. Yeah, I think he does. He's going after the win tonight.
That 81 of Shane Parrish holding up that Winn-Dixie machine there back in the 3rd place spot. Again, Shane is 1 lap down. He pitted just a little bit late. That put him off the lead lap. Looks like he's got slight damage to the right front. Maybe he's tapped the wall once. It's hard to tell from this angle, but regardless, the 94 of Curtis Young right now 6 seconds behind the leader and about 4.5 seconds behind the 2nd place of Josh Bonwell. Josh Bonwell trying to creep up there and get up to David Washington. I think Mr. Hill just said something about, nope, yeah, I see what he's doing. He's trying to intimidate people. I heard the words, pack it up, we're done.
Yeah.
He's trying to get inside people's heads, and it just ain't working. Mr. Hill last struck on the lead lap, though. He's in 11th place, and Shane Parrish right behind him, 1 lap down. Mr. McFarland, 3 laps down, but still having the time of his life out here in the desert at Phoenix International Raceway.
Yes, sir, guys. I got caught speeding on pit road. We do not clear black flags here at Domino's TYJ Racing. So I'm serving my penalty. Maybe it'll help me.
It'll help you get maybe a lap back.
I doubt it.
So
we were talking a little bit, Robert. We were thinking that maybe Ryan, number 55, was kind of maybe working your strategy a little bit. So we're going to keep an eye on him through the evening, see how he works out on that three stop.
Yes, sir. If I get a top 10 finish, that'll be a victory in my book. As most guys know, most fans, I'm not racing very often. And I just love giving away free Domino's pizzas. And fans, one quick reminder, this is how you win that free pizza tonight. You got 50 more laps. Be the first fan to text 919-883-7497. Or if you're in the live race chat, say, I choose this driver. Take your time. You got another 48 laps before 100. And no telling what can happen between now and then. But we will give away a large 3-topping Domino's pizza from any Domino's store in the United States of America and Canada. Carry out only. You do have to go pick it up. We don't bring it to you in our trucks. If I was, it'd be super, super late. That's why we ask you to go pick it up, but it will be free. Thanks for watching, fans.
Just kind of on the in-car camera here, a little bit of the 98 of David Washington. I am just watching how finesse this man is. And the weird part about it is, Judd, I know you've driven this track, I've driven this track, and of course Mr. McFarland right now is driving this track. He'll bring that same machine right down to that bottom line, of course. But the weird part is, right on the backstretch in turn 3, he won't lift that throttle to that first cone. He'll drive it in as deep as possible. I'll watch him arc that corner almost down to the yellow line, and it's just as finesse as much as you can every single time. A lot of these guys will try to overdrive the car, get back in the throttle a little too early, which pushes the car a little bit and, of course, wears out the tires. And that's what I think it is with him. Asphalt is a lot of finesse, and David definitely has that. What I'm getting at, though, is he saves a lot on the tires, so it will grip just as good as the first part of the run as it will towards the last part of the run because he's so used to lifting at different points. But again, it'll be a little bit earlier, and you got to feel the car out. With iRacing and a lot of these steering wheels nowadays, you can feel that through the wheel. Now, I've got myself a G27 here. It's got a bunch of different feedback to it where if you hit a wall, you can feel it. Somebody taps you, can feel it. You can feel even the tires break loose, and that's what he's doing now. He's got it right in his head. Very, very smooth driver, and that's what you need to do here in the desert.
Another thing I'm noticing is some of these drivers, you said 6 on the lead lap?
It's actually changed, Robert. We're going back to the 11th place of Ryan A. Hill. He made a stop, got around you there. He is 26 seconds back from the lead truck. Now, a lap around here is about 29 seconds, which means he's about 4 seconds roughly, and I say that loosely because of the timing, from going another lap down. I'm assuming he's just ahead of Mr. Washington, which I'll check out. Yep, he goes into turn 3 as David goes down the back chute. David will head turn 3 right now, so he's about 20 lengths back from going down right now, 1 lap.
This might not be surprising, but I think some of these guys might actually be conserving fuel now that we're past our first pit stop. They're going to try to absolutely make sure they make it on 2 more if they can. So the strategy is unfolding as we run.
See, as you say that, I'm thinking Ryan's got a heck of a strategy. Now, picture this. You just said conserving fuel. He doesn't care if David Washington catches him. You want to know why? Because, first of all, he can go another 10 to 15 laps further than these guys because he conserved to that point during the first stop, which means when they stop, he can go around them and make a lap and still get some distance on him as he goes. Even though he's going slow, it's enough to get distance further. And he can make one less stop if he keeps conserving fuel. So that means he's not stomping on it. He's full throttle most of the time. In fact, just watching him, you can see where the backfire comes out of that exhaust. That's usually when the fuel builds up in the carburetor, they stamp back on it. He's at that third cone on the back stretch before he hits turn 3. I believe Robert's right in this whole situation.
One thing that can beat Dave Washington is somebody running the perfect, and I do mean the perfect, fuel strategy. That could be the 55 of Ryan A. Hill. We'll have to wait and see. I know one thing. Go ahead, Judd.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Ryan hold the, stay out there as long as he did on that first stint. I just don't see that. He's going to make up whatever he needs to, and then he's going to come in and he's going to get himself some tires. But I don't think he's going to stay out there for 7, 8 laps. He stayed out a little bit too long this last one, but he's aware. He knows what he's doing. I would love to see a strategy like this work out tonight. It would be fun. This is kind of what we talked about for the last couple weeks now.
Yeah, Ryan seems to be doing a smart job, and personally, I believe that's what he's doing. Now, I don't believe he's in the league this year in the trucks. He's in top shelf more than anything. Very, very good man to be there. As we see them going down the stripe right now, the 55 will get past to the inside of David Washington. Even though at the top side is where you want to be out of the way, that adds a few more feet onto that fuel run, just so you know. He'll take and get down to the bottom side as quick as he can. I think he's going to let David Washington by pretty easy. He'll get right back in his tracks. Again, lifting at that third cone, like I said, going down to that third corner. It won't be long till Josh Bonwell catches him, but again, he's got at least a 10-lap advantage on these guys on fuel.
Yes, sir, Mr. Six Pack.
What did I just miss? Okay, I see what he's doing. Jeff Martin has got the 15 truck 6-pack machine. That actually was an old Kenny Rogers movie, by the way, way back in the day. And I believe it was called 6-pack, if I'm not mistaken, Judd. Is that back from your time, or do you even know the movie?
Yep. I'm fully aware of the movie and the man. And
Boy, not to get too harp on the subject, but Kenny doesn't look like he did back then. That's for sure nowadays. But Mr. Six-Pack 15 gets around him. The 15 machine of Jeff T. Martin in the 9th place position right now, 25 seconds behind the leader. Even though he just passed Robert, that David Washington is right on the high heels of Robert again, and it won't be long, so I think he's going to catch the 15 machine of Jeff Martin.
I'm not sure what we missed here, but we got Blake Griffin on the pit lane here.
A little bit of a strategy, 1 lap down, he'll go. 12th place right now, still dropping bit by bit. I don't think he's going to go much further. 15 trucks right now still on, make that 13 trucks still on this track. Out of 17 originally it started. Blake Griffin again in 12th. He's got to get back out pretty quick. Maybe he's given up, which isn't a possibility this evening. I'm thinking that might be the case because right now I don't see him coming back out anytime soon.
Yeah, he must have got himself some damage that we didn't catch.
That's a very good possibility, that, Judd. But if it was a 6X, they would have booted him out of the system, but it might be enough to put him out for this evening. That's all right. 9 trucks right now on the lead lap. Count that as the number 15 of Jeff T. Martin in the 9th place position. But right behind him, our leader, David Washington. He'll come down the front chute. Got around Mr. Robert one more time. Behind Robert, the 55 fuel strategy of Ryan A. Hill. Ryan Hill, the first truck, right now 10th place, 1 lap down. Again, I still want to see how this strategy is going to pan out. Curtis Young, though, very conservative this evening. He's in a 3rd place spot. Still running a pretty good line around that track. No tire skid, nothing like that. Behind him, the 60 of Gerald Campbell. Now, they've got about, doing a little figure in my head again. I went to this local school. 1.3 seconds behind him right now at the stripe, according to what I just seen. And if that's the case, he's got a long way to go to try to catch him. But again, Fuel strategy, pit strategies, all that'll take in place when we see it, which should be, in my guess, roughly around 85 to 90 laps. This is 71 right now that we're on. And again, your leader still David Washington, way out front, 2.5 seconds ahead of 56 of Josh Bonwell.
Yeah, I noticed David is keeping it really, really tight to the bottom. I think he's using this distractions to make sure that he gets as close to those cones as he can, keeps that thing down, try to conserve that track, the fuel, cut that track down as small as he can.
Now, one thing I've tried before, which could be suggestive in these races, again, I've had it to the point where Robert gets down to the bottom line. I just see him go sideways there a little bit, just still doing it to get out of the way. But regardless, I've done it before where these little short track races, what I'll do is I'll shut the truck off going into the corner like you're lifting on the throttle. That'll save a little bit of fuel each lap. So in other words, if you go into turn 3, shut the vehicle off, leave it in gear, it'll actually pull back on the throttle a little bit. It'll slow the truck down, hit the throttle back up, turn the key back on and go. That'll be conservative as well because the fuel pump's not pumping in these. But, well, none of them seem to be doing that right at the moment in time. We got the 42 right now, David Wright, on pit road. We're going to see what happens if he's going to have the right sides go up. Yes, right side's going up. Right side tires on, lap 73 right now. He'll go down, left side coming up right now off the ground. Second can of Sunoco fuel going in. Doesn't seem to be conservative very much. Back off the pit lane, he'll go, come back out. He'll be what looks to be in the 9th position when Jeff T. Martin passes him on this lap.
If we can do one more in cockpit view from our good buddy Michael D'Amico with All Pro Broadcasting, you can choose one of the trucks battling for the lead if you want to. We'd love to have about 3 or 4 or 5 maybe laps of silence and see what we can see from the cockpit view as one of these drivers who might be coming down pit road. You never know who it might be.
Well, if you want, we'll go a couple laps here silent. We'll ride along the 56 of Josh Bonwell as he's chasing down the 55 of Ryan Hill to get around him to get at David Washington here going through turn 1. Four laps around with the 56 machine of Josh Bonwell. I like to keep in that truck just for one more lap. One of the things I'm noticing, Judd, he'll come down that front chute. He'll lift just before that 4th cone, and he seems to drag the front end down through this turn 1. It's not arcing as hard as David is. David starts kind of high and then kind of goes in low, gets up close to that blue wall. And the other thing I'm noticing, too, he's very low in turn 3 here. As he goes down, he'll lift on the 2nd cone, go in real deep. You can get your left-hand tires over there because it's not a big transition. But as I'm saying that, he goes into pit. We'll ride with him in through the pit if you guys don't mind here. We'll see exactly what he takes on. Right now, lap 80. He'll come in from 2nd spot, give it up to go down and get 4 fresh rubbers. As you can see on pit lane, Speed limit right now, 35 for this short track. He'll usually keep in the right-hand lane during a normal race. Not going to hurt to be in the second lane. He's all alone. You cannot see your Pete down to the end of the line. Actually, I think he ran out of fuel. The motor, I think, is off if I'm listening to that. I could be wrong.
He's coasting.
He is coasting. I thought so.
He could be out of fuel.
I believe that's the case. He'll coast down. He'll lose a lot of time here. Right now, down to 28 miles an hour, he is coasting. He'll make it to his pit. Just enough to get there as the Miller Genuine Draft 60 of Jarrell Campbell is ahead of him. The right side tires going up. Motor is refired here. They'll get a few gallons of fresh Sunoco fuel in it. Left side's up. He'll drop it down, turn the steering wheel to the right, dump the clutch, and get out, but not without getting close to the Jegs machine. Back out he'll go. Green flag. Go, go, go. Time to go. Eric Stanford on the outside of him right here. Stanford will keep it high just above the yellow line, knowing he'll come out. Spotter will take care of that, and back on the track we go. Lap 81 is in the books. Judd, don't look now, but look who is in second place right now with the fuel run at 55 of Hill. David is trying to take and pour that out as long as he can get it. We're going to go take a look at him. He's right behind him, but not going to be enough time to catch him. I believe that. Let me take a look a few laps back here. Yes, David Washington, lap 82, did take his pit stop. So if he runs him down and it comes to the strategy at the end the same way, Hill will be on the top of the board. But right now, he'll be leading that pack for quite a bit. I think it's going to be another 10, 15 laps before he pits.
Like I said, fans and drivers and commentators, this pit strategy is not over yet. Do not count it out. You still got 21, actually about, 18, 17 laps to make your pick for the free pizza.
We'll throw it out there one more time for the free pizza while we watch the 55 of Hill go out for quite a while. What you do to get your free pizza one more time for, 16 laps from now will be closing of the polls. All you have to do is text your entry in. Here's the number, 919-883-7497. Again, 919-883-7497. One pick per number, one pick per evening, and you can comment in the YouTube section on the right-hand side who you think the winner is going to be, but you got to do it before lap 100. It is just for a free, large, three-topping Domino's pizza, and this will be in your town. We'll send you the certificate. We have given away, I believe, at least over 40 of these, Robert, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that. That's what my checkbook says.
I know it was 30. I think it was 35 last I checked, and that was a couple weeks ago. So I know we're well into the 40 age right now. By the way, as I'm talking about this, Washington catching up pretty quick. Under 1 second back behind the 55 of Hill. Still on to go, but that 98 is rolled. I'm sorry, he's right there. Fresh rubber and everything catching up to him. Of course, the 55 of Hill's truck is wore out. He'll go to the top side very easily. David Washington will take his way in his tracks. I think somebody hit the cones. They might have a penalty there if that's the case. I'm being told on the radio there's cones everywhere, and that's the only spot they can hit, all them cones. Outside David Washington, he'll try to take away that top spot as the track workers set them cones back up. David Washington door-to-door going into 3. He'll go around the outside with that fresh rubber, and he will take away the top spot very easily from the 55 of Hill.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, guys, you can actually touch those cones without getting a penalty. You've got to be quite a distance to the left. Your left side tires have to be quite a bit to the left to actually cause you that penalty. So some of these guys, they're not only testing their fuel, they're testing the limits of the track and the penalties that might come out if you touch those cones.
Well, I got to think that Ryan's going to want to be coming in here pretty quickly here. This is 2 laps since David took over the lead again, and I don't think Ryan wants to let him get away too long.
Taking a look at his truck, Ryan Hill's no damage anywhere, no X's. He seems to be running a nice smooth race this night. But you are right, Judd. I think he's going to have to come in pretty quick. We're going to keep Ryan at 55 for the next couple laps. My guess right now still, I think, is going to be lap 95 because everybody was in around between 83 and 86. And he can stretch it out for quite a long ways. And I think that's going to be enough for him to take and only do this on a 3-stop run. Curtis Young in the 94 right now, third place position. He is almost 5 seconds back behind the leader. Ryan Hill, he'll be able to take over that second spot once Hill takes his truck to the pit lane. But behind him, the number 3 throwback scheme of Dale Jr. there, Mark Jackson. He is over 10 seconds back behind David Washington. These pit strategies have really stretched this field out. Again, no cautions on this evening. So these guys are doing their best to keep in the top 3. The top 3 get paid cold, hard cash this evening. And Gerald Campbell right now, who's in the 5th spot, has caught up to the number 3. If he can keep that truck steady, he might take over a top 3 spot in not too long from now. .55 of Hill will come off of turn 4. He'll keep a nice steady line, a little bit wider that time, not trying to take and wear them tires out any more than he has to. He's got to be fighting that truck a little bit, Judd. I'm telling you, even his arcs are a little bit off. Still kind of towards that wall, but he's not back on that throttle much at all. I mean, he's just taking it real easy with that truck.
Yeah, I think he's nursing it now just to make sure he can get the fuel out of it that he wants. It's good to see him staying on his strategy. You know, I would really like to see him have a good run tonight.
Listen to that exhaust. It's not loud at all. He come around at turn 4.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to recreate that again, but it's close enough. But regardless, he's still holding on to that second place spot. Now think about this. His last pit strategy put him up in this spot right now where he's at. Who's to say, oh, he hits the cones. That's maybe too low. I'm not certain if that's going to cause a penalty or not. We'll see exactly what happens here at iRacing. He'll announce it shortly. That might get him a point where he's got to pit in the next 3 laps, which actually, staying low enough to let...
staying out. And Curtis is on his outside there, so...
Yep, letting Curtis go there for that second place spot. Even if now here's the next thing. If you get a black flag in any type of racing, even iRacing, they give you 3 laps to bring it in. So right now, lap 94, I guess lap 95 is what I was thinking. That would still give him enough time to bring the truck in, even if he's got a penalty.
Guys, give us a quick update as we're getting close to lap 100 of the trucks that have retired from the night, because I'm up to 11th position.
Taking a look right now, 17 trucks started this race this evening. Robin McFarland and Shane Parrish right now run out the top 12, and Shane Parrish still 7 laps down. The first truck I see gone from this race this evening right now is 7 of Blake Griffith. He is in the 13th spot. Shows 28 laps down. He's not even on the track anymore. The 51 of James Ross, unfortunately, has retired early. He retired quite a while ago, along lap 30. The 54 of Nick Reynolds is one of them as well. The Tanner Tallarico machine didn't even start this race this evening. I thought he was in there, and he has won several races enough to be here, but again, not around any longer. So right now we have 12 trucks still in this fight, leading up to the 12th place spot of Shane Parrish, 7 laps down. Shane is just out here kind of riding around, having a good time right now. But, Judd, the story of the evening, 55 of Hill, 3rd place spot, still hanging on to that truck. Right now he's got the lap truck of Jeff T. Martin in the 15, 6-pack machine behind him. Jeff Martin riding around 1 lap down in 10th place position. Dude, Hill is hanging on to it tonight, man. Give him kudos for that. 97 laps in, he still hasn't pitted yet.
He made a nice wide arc, let Jeff come by, so we'll see. Yeah, Jeff will get the pass on him on the bottom. Ryan will just keep patiently working for his fuel light to pop on for him.
A couple more fatal cones there from the 15. He'll run over about a dozen of them or so. Don't think it's enough to give him a penalty. Lap 97 right now. He's heading for lap 98 still with no fuel run in the pits. One of the other guys we spoke about early in the race kind of fell back a little bit. The 56 of Josh Bonwell. All
right, here we go. Ryan Hill going pits. Yep, Ryan's going in the pits.
Ryan just announced he's going to the pits so he can take and let everybody by on the outside. But Josh Bonwell in the 56 machine, he's getting challenged right now from behind. The Jegs machine looks to be the 98 of Washington, which is our leader. He's going to go a lap down. He was in 9th place position. One reason I was calling him out is because he was the last truck still in the lead lap. But that's not going to last very long here. As we see the 55 of Hill, he'll go down on pit lane, outside lane. He'll get to his pit, of course. 4 fresh rubbers and 2 cans of Sunoco. He is shaking that truck. He is out of fuel. He put it right to the end. He's still going to make it to his pit. He's rolling along pretty good, and he will stop right now. Right side of the truck going up. Again, another can going in. That'll fill it up. They'll refire the motor, and we'll get him back out here shortly. Getting back out to our leader, 98 of David Washington. A lot of trucks around him right now. He'll let Robert McFarland to the outside, and he'll take over the lead. quite easily. The 56 of Bonwell will follow him through, but Bonwell right now, unfortunately, a little bit too late. 1 lap down.
Why don't we do a quick in-car view for about 5 laps of the 55 of Ronnie Hill, see what he can do coming off of pit road, see if we can determine if he's saving fuel from the get-go.
I believe that's going to be the case as we're watching him live right now inside the cockpit. He'll start the start-finish line. No challenges from behind. I'm going to tell you what, Judd, if you listen
wow,
to
he's lifting like at the 3rd cone.
He is still saving fuel. I'll tell you, this might be a big strategy. He is on the throttle. He takes out the cones again down the back chute, lifting at that 3rd cone again down in turn 3. Dude, I'm telling you what, Robert, you are right about this, and I think he's doing the Robert McFarland gas strategy of the evening.
I tell you what, it might work for somebody fast like Ryan Hill on that number 55. He has won 2 or 3 races this year. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Keep in mind, though, guys, the other thing is, of course, with Robert's experience here, sorry, he just took out about 10 more of them cones again. They're going to be going through them a lot tonight.
Yeah, he's keeping the track workers busy.
Yes, he is, and those guys are fast, let me tell you. Behind him, I see the 42 mellow yellow machine of David Wright. David right now seems to be in the 5th place position behind the 60 of Gerald Campbell. Gerald Campbell up ahead of him, ahead of Robert, actually. But the other thing that the 55 of Hill is doing is he's saving his tires lifting that early. Watch out for that 97 there, Brian. Whoop. He skid a little bit. He was able to get around him on the bottom side. Almost took out the truck, was able to hold on to it. Didn't hurt the front end, didn't touch nothing, and he continues on his way. But what I was trying to say, guys, as he goes in these corners, he's lifting so early, there's not enough force on those tires to really even hurt him. So he's getting through these corners real easy and real smart-like, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's lifting way before that 3rd cone comes in.
And what we're talking
now
about...
we got him everywhere.
Now they're all over the place.
I'm in the cones.
Cones are definitely the losers of the evening. Now, what we're talking about, cones, one more time, guys. Down turn 1, turn 3, there's cones inside the fence, and it goes 3, 2, 1. It tells those drivers that that is where the start of the turn will begin. You have your choice to lift at those cones, and he's lifting way at the beginning. So, yeah, he's saving them tires, and that 42 David Wright will be by him shortly.
More cones right in my grill.
You know, I'll tell you, if this was bowling for cones night, Ryan would definitely have the highest score at this point. Yeah, he's barely turning that wheel either. He's not fighting the truck at all. I mean, he's doing a great job keeping it straight, keeping everything in one piece, but not fast this evening. You know, slow and steady wins the race. This seems to be one of them deals.
I'm going to follow him through the cones.
You won't have any cones to hit, Robert.
I might be catching these 2 guys. I got a little bit fresher tires. It'd be something if I could pass somebody tonight.
I'm still in the cockpit view here. I'm not sure about the broadcast. That's okay if it isn't. But regardless, I am seeing 4 trucks behind Ryan A. Hill in his mirror, and one of them led by the 42 of David Wright. Behind him, the 97 of Robert McFarland, who we are joined by, obviously, here remotely in the booth. And we're playing bowling for cones this evening as we go down the backstretch. High-quality machines I'm hearing on the radio because they're not getting dead. There's no letting them cones. Now, the other thing, too, Judd, just so you know, he's kind of pushing the edge with that because if he gets them left-hand tires too far down there, that will serve a penalty. But he's doing a fantastic job keeping it right on the edge. And entertaining to be that, too, so...
Yeah, I think he realizes where he can and probably where he can't put those tires. He's just barely clipping those cones.
Oh, one other thing, guys. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late on this, but lap 107 closed right now are the polls for the free pizza because lap 100, as long as you got your picks in, you are good to go. If by any chance you're picking the 55 of Ryan A. Hill, you have a great chance this evening of winning a large 3-topping Domino's Paying Pie. And I'll tell you what, David Washington is not out of the loop yet, but I believe this pit strategy is going to really fall into that 55's hands later on in this race. It's got to make Mark Jackson, though, a little bit nervous because I'll tell you, he's right now in 3rd place position. That's a $10 position for this evening. Again, top points give 50 for the 1st place, 25 for the 2nd, 10 for the 3rd. Everybody else is a thank you for coming deal, basically. But with this being said that, Mark Jackson in third place, he's got a comfortable third place spot with Gerald Campbell behind him about 3.5 seconds from what I'm seeing here. But, again, no cautions, not going to change as long as he can keep that truck straight. A little wiggle off of turn 4 there I saw by him, but it isn't too bad. But with that all being said, if this it pans out and that 55 gets ahead of everybody with this strategy, I think we're going to have Mark Jackson a little bit annoyed with the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can never rule out Mark Jackson in that beautiful number 3 truck. He's got wins in the Truck Series, the Denton Fender Truck Series. He's got wins in the Premier Xfinity Series. This guy, Mark Jackson, knows how to get it done, especially if conserving fuel has anything to do with it.
Now, I like the paint job on that. Of course, it's throwback, as I said before, for Dale Jr. But you know what that is, Judd, that PADD, People Against Distracted Driving. That's one of your guys right there, sponsors. And I'll tell you what, great sponsor to have on here. No texting while driving. Keep your phone put away. And I'll tell you what, it's awesome to advertise for these guys.
Yeah, I really enjoy racing with people from PAD. They, they bring the light. Make sure you put those phones away, turn them off. Put them in your glove box. Whatever you got to do, folks. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
No, absolutely, Judd. Highly agree. PAD, great organization to be with, and I'm kind of glad they're flying their colors this evening. Back up to the second place, we're looking at the Lowe's truck in the 94 of Curtis Young with the pink rims. Again, with October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a little pink in there definitely doesn't hurt anybody. And real men do wear pink, and he's wearing it very proudly tonight in the second place position. 6.5 seconds behind David Washington. A smooth David Washington at that, by the way. I'll tell you what, watch his line many, many laps over, and I have not seen it change at all. He is not just fast, but he's consistent with every lap. Now, if you watch a lot of these guys every week, including me, to be honest with you, to get a consistent lap like that is key. So in other words, if you kind of enter a corner a little high in a third group and you want to come down to the yellow line as you take and exit the apex, it's a good move to do, but to do that exactly the same line, exactly every lap, is a challenge with every one of these machines. Big, small, trucks, cars, it doesn't matter. But with that being said, he'll go to the outside of Mr. McFarland. Robert McFarland will go down, unfortunately, 7 laps this time. He's down 6. A few of the cones will go away at that point again. And I think I just seen the 98 flash for a second there. Maybe that's just me.
I did glitch. I think Dave did. I was riding in his truck with him.
Yeah, if that being said, I think it's going to be okay. What we do in this league, by the way, the other thing is, too, if you see 2 drivers saying that you flash, we ask you to pull off and try to fix what's going on. But that was just one glitch. We're not too worried about that. We're going to let them run. Nobody said anything. I'm the only one that's seen it. Actually, you guys saw it, too. Excuse me. No driver said a thing. We'll let them continue. Of course, they got to get within eyesight to see that happen. So, and right now, that just ain't happening. Last truck on lead lap, 7th place spot, 42 David Wright, down pit lane, lap 116. He'll bring it in for another 4 tires and Sunoco 2 cans of racing fuel. We'll see where strategy pans out here. Also, the 60 of Gerald Campbell, he'll hit his pit stall, same exact thing, right side of the truck going up. That'll go down here shortly, go for the left-hand side. We'll get 4 fresh rubbers on it, backhand the track. Fuel play strategy still comes into play tonight, and it makes it more and more exciting.
I can tell you one thing, I'm getting hungry here following this 56 Josh Bonwell Burger King truck. Guys, give us some other paint jobs you're seeing on the track. I know we got a Winn-Dixie out here. What are the kind of food product, old school, throwback paint jobs you guys seeing on the track?
I think I got the wrong file on that, but that's okay. Judd, if you see anything different at a 56, let me know. I'm looking at right now the 60 of Gerald Campbell. He's got that Winn-Dixie Mark Martin old, well, it was a Busch Series back then, even the Grand National Series, but it was last run by Mark Martin, I believe, in the mid-90s. In fact, no, actually, I'm going to go even farther back than that, because I was at Daytona in 2001, and I remember seeing him going down the back chute with that, and I'm going to say early 2000s when that went out of style. But beautiful looking truck this evening. He'll run the Winn-Dixie colors this evening in the 60 of Gerald Cam.
Oh, Josh Bonwell's coming in.
Fine.
And the 94 of Curtis Young are both coming in on this lap, looks like.
Of course, right now that really spins up the strategy a little bit further. Now, keep in mind, 4 trucks right now in the lead lap. The 99 of William Roberts Jr., he's in his pit stall. He's the first truck a lap down. David Washington still out. This actually changes the pit strategies a lot. But I remember David Washington came in late last time on the last run, so I'm seeing him doing it the same exact thing this time. Curtis Young does not follow suit with David Washington. He'll make his pit stop right now. He is in for fresh Goodyears. At the same time, Mark Jackson following him in on the same lap. Again, lap 120. Watching David Washington, he'll go to the outside, leading on the lap. Nobody around him, but the faster trucks will ensue. 24 of Eric Stanford right now, going to pick up the pace and get ahead of him, not to go another lap down, but he'll make it back up when the 98 hits pit lane. Well, we got the 97 of Mr. Robert McFarland. Unfortunately, round, it looks to be on the backstretch. Robert, unfortunately, will expire this evening. We have smoke coming out his tail. Not exactly sure what happened there, but the truck is wrinkled up pretty bad. He will stop it and get a tow. Nope, he'll try to get down into pit lane. Stanford will go high and avoid him. That'll bring him in. I believe, Robert, if you're still with us, that'll end his night. How's your radio in there, Robert?
Yeah, give me. Let me catch my breath.
Trying to see exactly what happened here. We're seeing.
Yeah, we lost Josh Bonwell. He as soon as he got hit, he disappeared on us. Not sure where he's at the moment.
That was an unfortunate incident between the 56 and the 97. I'm watching that. He come off a pit lane, and he actually, from what I've seen, he went a little bit sideways trying to avoid Robert, and unfortunately caught both trucks there in that wreck.
You know, it's quite unusual to look at the leaderboard here, and we see one truck, the leader, on the lead lap.
That one truck, by the way, just got 4 fresh Goodyears, and we will take and re-rack them back up as Curtis Young right now will take over that top spot.
There we go.
Curtis Young was going to take over the top spot. I'm kind of reading the board right now. Okay, there we go. Now we're circling back around. He was 33 seconds behind. Would have put him a lap and a half down when David came back out, but now it shows 3.8 seconds behind the leader in second place, which now we go back to the third spot, which is the number 3 of Mark Jackson, and the fourth place spot of Ryan A. Hill, which Ryan, by the way, again, pit strategy still available out there because I think that he has not pitted during this cycle yet. That's why he's in the fourth place spot. First truck a lap down right now, looking at the 15 of Jeff Martin in that six-pack truck. He's still kind of tooling along. The 42 behind him of David Wright, who's in the 6th place spot. He'll take it up through. The 15, I don't believe is going to see him get a lap back. I believe he also did take his pit stop, which I'll take a look here quick. Yep, Martin took his pit stop on lap 114, one more before most of the field did. With that being said, he is going to keep a lap down. I don't see him getting it back anytime soon. 8 trucks now on the lead lap, going all the way back to the 60 of Gerald Campbell. And again, the Winn-Dixie machine. The only reason that's happening is he is on pit lane. Hopefully he gets enough time to get back out. I don't see it happening. Well, him going down a lap, that'll put 7 trucks right now on the lead lap, back to the 9 of William Roberts Jr. Judd, I think I made a big mistake this evening. Now, before the broadcast, we were talking about different things and getting things ready, and I decided to get a cup of coffee. I'm usually in bed about a half hour from now, and I'm just a buzzing right now.
You're all wired up, huh, buddy?
Yeah, that may have been a big mistake, but I ain't drank the full cup yet. But that's all right. We'll be all right. But watching these guys back to the 94 of Curtis Young, not much has changed. Just 4 seconds back behind the leader. Again, beautiful machine Lowe's this evening. Lowe's, excuse me. That was one thing in the South I was told because I moved down North Carolina for a short bit. I kept pronouncing it Lowell's, and it's Lowe's. And I was
no L in there.
No L in there. It's a New York thing. See, that's where I'm at right now is New York.
Right on.
Hey,
I noticed that David is not necessarily getting as close to the cones as he was earlier in the race, so he's definitely pulling himself just a little off that yellow line a little bit more now. And maybe this rubber's kind of tightening these trucks up.
Plus, the other thing, too, with these rubbers being wore off the tires, keep in mind they also wear on the track. Now, different tracks have different personalities, and as you can see him going down to turn 1 here, I'm kind of riding along with him. He is going lower into that corner than what he did before. It gives a little more traction. Sometimes when laying rubber down actually makes it a little bit skittish because rubber against rubber, flat against flat, no grit. All your grit's in the actual asphalt. So now he takes it down into that line. He's not arcing the corner between 3 and 4 like he did either. He's rubbing that yellow line there. I'm noticing that as well. Let's see what he does down here in turn 1 and down the back chute again. Yep, very low into turn 1 like he didn't before. So he's rubbing that yellow line. And like you said, I don't think he's going to hit the cones this time. Yes, sir, you are right, Judd. He has a completely different line than what he had before. I don't think that's any advantage to Curtis, though. He's still 4 seconds back behind him, and he's got to figure out a line a little bit faster than that. Right now, David's really good at picking out these lines, especially towards the end of the race.
I think that what he's trying, what I'm seeing, and I've spent a lot of time with David Washington over the year, but, he's not pulling on that wheel as hard, which is not going to wear out your tires as much. Your fronts are going to stay a little bit fresher. Like you said earlier, he's just phenomenal with that throttle and his wheel. It's just amazing to watch this man drive.
He's still going down to that corner there, turn 3, though, at that last cone. And now, by the way, when he hit that last cone, that truck did push a little bit through that corner. It was going up towards the wall, but I think he used a slight bit of brake to kind of control it. You can do that, especially if you can keep all 4 tires down. Robin McFarland, by the way, we'll get word on him a little bit later. He's out of his truck. He's at the infield care center after he took and hit that wall. It was a pretty hard hit. He got shaken up a little bit. They're going to give him some oxygen, a few drinks. We'll get to him a little bit later. Yeah, I agree with you, Judd. He's taking a completely different line as we spoke before, but that track is acting a completely different too. Now, keep in mind, tire compounds all the same around every time you change tires, but the track, again, not. When that rubber builds up, it fills in that grit, makes it a nice, smooth, even surface, and man, iRacing has done their best to build in everything they can in real life, and in real life, that's exactly what happens. That's why you'll see these drivers take different lines trying to find grip.
Yeah, you can hear the engine kind of lugging down a little bit in the middle of the corner there. Wants to get back on the gas, but I'm thinking he's starting to probably look at a little bit of conservation, maybe.
Very good possibility.
Maybe just laying down into the throttle rather than snapping down into it,
Yeah, a lot of these drivers, especially like I said right now, when they're trying to take and get that smoothness down, they'll act like there's an egg underneath that throttle. Instead of stomping it coming out of the corner, they'll be real easy on it so they don't crush that egg per se, quote unquote. By the way, Curtis Young, watching his line, he's going through turns 3 and 4 right now. He's a little bit higher than what he has been in the past. He can see that tail end of David Washington, but he's not going to be able to catch him with the line he's doing. He's a little bit forceful down to turn 1, a little bit earlier back on the throttle coming out of it, down the back chute. Closer to that little blue wall, closer to the cones. He's still running the same line he did before, but watch him in turn 3. He still lifts at the first cone. He'll arc it down, but the truck will not get down to that yellow line. He's trying to turn that wheel farther than David Washington is, and he cannot get that truck to get down.
Seems like he gets a good run off of 3 there, off of 4, but it's a little late.
It's very late, and it's to a point where it's hurting him. I mean, looking at his time right now, he was exactly 4.6 seconds behind the leader 5 laps ago. Make that 5.1 at the line last time around, and it's given David Washington a killer advantage. I'll tell you, David, very smart driver, very smooth driver. He knows his way around this track pretty good.
We got a gaggle of trucks in the back here. We got the 9, the 42, the 55, the 24, all fighting for position here.
But within
Eric
that
Stanford
mix,
underneath Ryan Hill. And
I was about to mention that. Between that mix, Ryan A. Hill still throwing that 55, tooling along. I'll tell you, he's still got an awesome strategy with this. 7th place right now, last truck on the lead lap. He'll take over to 7th place. Jeff Martin, he'll be down actually 1 lap at this point. And it looks to be the 42 of David Wright in the 5th place spot. 4th going up through William Roberts Jr. in the number 9 Quaker State. Quaker State, I'll get it out. Lube truck. I'm so used to saying Quaker Steak and Lube. That's a restaurant, by the way, people. If you haven't checked it out, I highly suggest it. But anyways, very cool place to go. Quaker State motor oil on that truck. Again, around Hornaday Jr. Old paint scheme. But very good looking truck. Still everybody's holding it together. Most guys are still in this fight, and, well, top three are not necessarily pulling away, but, well, I guess they are a little bit, because looking at the times right now, Mark Jackson in the 3 truck in the 3rd place. He is 11 seconds behind the leader, but William Roberts Jr. in that 9 truck, 4th place, 21 seconds. That means they're 10 seconds apart between 3 and 4. With no cautions, this was going to happen.
Yeah, typical Mark Jackson, keeping it calm, cool, collected here. He's just bide his time, work his way to the front. If the tires will stay on truck for him, that's what he's really needing to do. He really needs those tires to hang in there for him right now.
Right now, one of the names I'd like to throw out there is a woman by the name of Cindy Eckerson in Pittsburgh, PA. Right now, she has picked the 98 to win this race. She has got a great chance at this. Cindy, we appreciate you taking and putting in for the free pizza. Keep your fingers crossed, because right now it looks like you've got a good chance at it. 2nd place will not pay out the pizza, though. So if that 55 of fuel strategy will pan out for Ryan A. Hill, sorry, Cindy, there might be a chance he might lose this. And right now, my money seems to be on that 55. What do you think, Judd?
Well, I'm liking what Ryan did tonight. I'm glad he stuck to his guns, and he's gonna give it a shot. It's really important that he tries and stay this course with the strategy. I would really like to see one of these guys, put the math down and figure it out.
With that 55, by the way, seeing a throwback paint scheme. Michael Waltrip in the old DEI paint scheme, which used to be the 15 machine. 55 fits it very well as far as I'm concerned. It looks like a nice, pretty truck, and he's keeping it nice and shiny off those walls. We'll get some word here from Mr. McFarland here in a little while. We'll see how he's doing. Again, still laying in the infield care center. Had a little bit of a mishap there with the machine of Josh Bonwell. Unfortunately, ended his night quite early. Kind of wrecked the motor, wrecked the truck. But again, I hear he's okay. I hear things are good with him. We'll get word from him in a little while. Word from the 15 machine of Jeff Martin, 2 laps down. He will pit it and bring it in for the evening. Unfortunately, not being able to pay out. Not a points night. Good reason to take and come off if he wants to. Again, that's what a few other guys have done. He'll probably be out of the top 10 shortly, and that'll put Mr. McFarland into the top 10, even though he's done for the evening after about 30 laps. Listening to Mr. Mark Jackson on the radio, he is telling Mr. 15 of Jeff Martin to get himself a 5-hour energy and come on back out. Another pizza guest this evening right now, the 94 of Curtis Young. That was picked by Tom Franks of Memphis, Tennessee. He is giving it a shot this evening. Boy, I'll tell you what, Curtis Young still has a chance at this. It may seem kind of hopeless, even though he's back 6.5 seconds behind the leader. We're on lap 147. His pick was in before lap 100, again, for the 3-topping Domino's Pizza. Again, Tom Franks of Memphis, Tennessee, we appreciate your pick this evening, and keep on watching. You can have yourself a big, large 3-topping pizza this evening.
No, I wouldn't count Curtis Young out of this race yet. The 94, he was our champion last year in the Truck Series. So if anybody can get it done, count on Curtis. He'll be up there.
No doubt about that, Judd. He's been a very smart driver most all the season. He won a lot last season in the Truck Series, and then again came out on top with a trophy. We do give out trophies for this, by the way. What we did last year, they had a clock made with a nice little billboard on it, and it said Domino's TYJ Racing Champion 2016. He's got it up on his wall at home. He's probably staring at it right now while he's in second place. Completing lap 148, the number 3 of Mark Jackson. We're watching him a little bit, 12 seconds behind the leader. Even though these guys are stretched out a little bit, plenty to talk about. He come off of turn 4 a little bit sideways there. Nothing horrible. Just got to be a little off the throttle. Of course, he's not down to those cones either. He'll lift about the second cone going down to turn 3. Get back on the throttle. Still not enough to get it down to the yellow line. The truck won't arc as much. The other thing is, guys, one thing technical-wise, if you can keep it in the second or third groove, you're not turning that wheel as sharp, And with that being said, you can save your tires a little bit, even though it's farther around the track, but you're also lifting more off the throttle. It's weird to say, but you're wasting fuel that way because you got to get back on to get that speed back up. Now, one other thing I've just been informed about for the pick for the pizza, no one, and I mean no one, has picked a 55 this evening, which means we're going to have a heck of a pizza party if Ryan A. Hill wins this thing, Judd.
Wow. That's surprising.
I'm amazed myself, to be honest with you, because did I just hear pitting from the 955?
Yep.
Let's see, pit strategy. He was over. I'm going to check something here. I'm going to go back a little while. I'm going to see when his first pit stop was, because if it was over lap 50, take it. 55 brings it down pit lane. We're trying to check back when his first pit stop was, if it was over lap 50 or not. I'll let you know here shortly. His first pit stop was lap 48. 48. So, with that being said, 151. Can he stretch that fuel one lap? That's what he needs to do.
And remember, his second pit stop, he ran out of fuel.
Yes. I'm going to check when that second pit stop was, because I'm curious about that myself now.
55 back on track.
Second pit stop officially, lap 98 was when he came in, so it was lap 48 and 98. That's when he ran out of fuel. He's very
laps.
much got to conserve to make it to the end of this run. He can make it 48 laps on fuel. Will he be able to take and pull it off at the end? If he does, right now he's 2 laps down, but with everybody pitting, that should cycle him back around. Actually, that might hurt him here. I'm not certain exactly what's going to happen now, Judd.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That second lap might come into play on this one.
David Washington all alone, got 12 seconds right now, and it's free of Mark Jackson because the 94 of Curtis Young. Wait a minute. I think Curtis is retired from this race.
Wow, yeah, he's gone.
Curtis Young, the 94 machine, just gave up basically a $25 stop. Yeah, he actually pulled it down on the back stretch and allowed the tow truck to pull it off. No caution out. That'll give the second place to Mark Jackson and William Roberts Jr. That'll put him in the catbird seat in third place spot. Right now, 5 trucks on the lead lap. That goes back to the 24 of Eric Stanford and the 42 of David Wright in fourth place position. But you know what? Don't count them out yet. Even on the lead lap, pit strategies can call things out. And if they get down to about another 5 laps in pit, they can make it to the end. Trying to look when the last pit strategy was for the 9 here. Lap 119 was the last time the 9 and the 24 pit. So that brings it up to lap 156. They still have, let me see, 19, doing a little math in my head, and you know how that goes, Judd. They have got
I was just trying to check in with Curtis Young, see what happened.
Yeah, if you would, see what you can do about that. Find out exactly what the story was. With that being said, these guys have got to stop one more time, but that's not going to be an advantage to Ryan A. Hill this time. He's down 2 laps. I don't think that's going to be enough for him to get up front and win this race. Say that, here the 24 of Stanford. He'll be on pit lane this time. He'll stretch it out as far as he can go, and this will get him to the end on this stop right here. Unfortunately, Judd, it looks like Curtis actually has left the entire stadium here. Nothing on TeamSpeak, nothing around. I'm wondering why he just quit like that. To be honest with you, I would have kept right on going.
Yeah, I don't know. The way he left, there's something must have come up.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Again, no points night. That's no big deal. No skin off his back. He just gave up basically $25, which, again, his choice, his fine. It's all good.
Yep. David Wright, third place. like he's coming in for the pit stop now. So Eric Stanford, William Roberts should get their they should get their laps back here. David should be coming in here probably in the next lap or two, I would think.
Got to keep an eye on that right now. I'm keeping an eye right now on the 9, though. William Roberts Jr., he's got his tires. He'll be out and gone. David Wright already taken and gone. Mark Jackson down pit lane. Looks like he'll get his fuel and tire stop as well. David Washington still staying out. No reason to take and stretch the fuel mileage this time. This will be the final pit stop here. As long as everybody can keep it aligned, he'll go around past pits one more time, being chased by the 9 of William Roberts Jr. William Roberts Jr. 2 laps down now, actually hurting him. Eric Stanford will be ahead of him, but when David Washington pits, that'll put Eric and David back on the lead lap to do the 42 and the 24. .24 right now, 1 lap down, 3rd place spot. Still watch for that 98 of David Washington to pit. Kind of sitting here with all 4 fingers going brump, 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 waiting for that 98 to pit because I thought he'd come around the last 2 laps, was going to pull it in, but nope. He'll allow the 9 to get around him to get at least 1 lap back. That'll put William Roberts Jr. back on the lead lap once David Washington pits. There we go. We hear him off the throttle on the brake. He'll bring it in for the final time in lap 163. That'll allow the top 5 to gather back around to get back on the lead lap, and they'll be fighting it out to the end of the top 3 spots for cash. Washington into the first pit stall there. He'll stop just before his guy. Right side of the truck, obviously, come up for fresh rubbers going on. 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. Right now, the other guys will start to get their lap back. Mark Jackson will go down back to the 3rd turn into turn 4. He'll try to get back around before Washington makes it back out for him to take the lead over. Washington back out onto the speedway. That will not allow him to get his lap. Oh, I'm sorry, corrected. That'll allow him to get his lap back. Sorry about that. That'll also should correct Eric Stanford now. That'll put him in the 3rd place spot. William Roberts Jr., that should correct him as well. That'll put him in the 4th place spot. David Wright back on the lead lap. 5th place spot. All top 5 back on the lead lap. Ryan Hill now back in the 6th place position, back on the lead lap. And there's 6 guys enough to complete this race. Again, only the top 3 getting paid, but Ryan Hill's strategy, unfortunately, I believe, has come to the end. Everybody has got their fuel strategy stops in. No more pit stops in the end. Everybody should be able to make it, except, unfortunately, Judd, Ryan Hill, because he may have shorted himself 1 lap. Well, that'll put him in the 6th place position, almost a minute behind the leader, but as I say that, he will go down a lap because the leader just got him. So, unfortunately, that ends Ryan A. Hill chances for a top 3 this evening. Now, unfortunately, it's just to hang on till the end. The only thing you can do at this point, David Washington on the point. He'll go down in turn 1 a lot lower than what I've seen him before. Take and bring it up towards the wall. He'll keep it off that blue stripe. Actually, quite a ways, because a lot of guys will bring that Fender right up there. Down towards the cones like we've seen him in the beginning of this race. He'll still lift at that first cone going down to turn 3. Arc the corner, grab the yellow line, and go down the front chute. 10 seconds will last between him and the number 3 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson in the 2nd place spot. Right now, top 3 will be Eric Stanford in the 24 machine. Now, there's another curveball I just noticed in this race this evening, Judd, by the way.
Yeah.
The setup is not Phoenix. From what I'm seeing on my screen here, it looks to be Vegas, which the gearing's different, the setup's different, the tires are different. I'm wondering if that was another curveball we didn't hear about at the beginning of this race.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I came onto the trackside and my setup says it's Phoenix.
Huh. I wonder if that's something that I did. Maybe he left it at open setup. I'm going to check something on that. Give me 1 second. I just noticed this is set up to open setups this evening. I did not notice that till now. Unless, wait a minute. I know why this is like this. A little bit of a correction from the announcer, folks. I am watching this race. I am not part of it. So it allowed me to use open setups in this race, and I'm not in it. So that's why, because the last race I actually ran with my truck was Vegas. That's why it shows that setup still in it. So again, my fault, my bad. I got to read into this stuff before we get into the server, you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking we would have probably heard something from somebody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. They'd be screaming like crazy. Boy, this thing sucks. It won't turn. Da-da-da, the usual suspects. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You know, Eric Stanford in the 24, even though he's in third place spot, he's still got to defend that line. He is just under 2 seconds back to the 9 of William Roberts Jr. William Roberts has got a chance to get that $10 away from a third place spot. And all he has to do is be very easy on his throttle, because Stanford, he's just pounding on it pretty good. There's only 29 laps to go in this race. And I'll tell you what, Stanford's doing a fantastic job keeping it up there, but he is 18 seconds behind the leader. And with that being said, there's no way he's going to win a top spot over David Washington.
And I do believe that William Roberts came in 2 laps before Eric Stanford did, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go back and look, but I'm pretty sure, though. Let's see what the 9 can do, because if he can catch up to him, that would be an incredible feat with the way the tires are getting torn up here tonight.
Yeah, he just knocked that down a little bit, actually. Actually, Stanford did, excuse me. Stanford now 19 seconds behind the leader. But back behind him, doing some more figuring in my head. Here we go. 0.38 seconds behind him. So it is under 3/4 of a second behind Stanford for that third place spot. It actually maybe, no, I'm sorry. I told you my math is way off. I'm looking at it again as I'm talking, thinking 1.7 seconds behind him. It's still under 2, but it knocked it down more than it was the first time around. So 1.7 seconds, excuse me, at the line last time, marks between third and fourth, and a payday for that 9 of William Roberts Jr.
Clash in the past 200. Well, I'm sure we have a few drivers tonight that are glad to have this in their past.
Ain't that the truth? I'll tell you what, they clashed a little bit tonight, and unfortunately Robert McFarland clashed a little bit there. Now, just a report up on Robert. Unfortunately, he's not able to talk at this time. They're going to take and bring him home this evening, kind of let him go. Got to recover from that wreck. Nothing bad, but on the same note, he'll be fine for the next race, and he'll be back later on today.
Yeah, he'll be out there fighting at Watkins Glen.
Which, by the way, my home track. Love that place.
Yeah.
2.5-mile road course. I believe it's 7 turns in it, they call it. There used to be a bunch of turns, actually. I knew it used to be 11 or 12, but regardless, out in the foothills of the Catskill Mountains, Adirondack Mountains, excuse me there. I'm in New York, I don't even know. Duh. But anyways, out in the Finger Lakes region, been there several times, love the place, love the facility, love running there, and I'll tell you what, challenging track to be at, no question about it.
Lots of fun, though. Really a fun track. Very challenging.
Oh, yeah, especially with a high horsepower machine out there. Now, do you know, talking a little bit about Watkins Glen just for a minute, do you know why they put that bus stop in on the backstretch?
Why is that?
Years ago, they had a wreck, and again, I'm not going to name any names, but, well, I could in this case. J.D. McDuffie was one of them, unfortunately. He came down that back chute, and the other person that was involved, I'm trying to remember the name, I got his face right in my head. Jimmy Means. Jimmy Means was involved in that wreck, and unfortunately, it was a bad enough wreck where, well, we lost the driver that evening, and they ended up putting in that inner loop, or because the bus stop, as they call it nowadays, to slow those cars down before that carousel. With that being said, a lot of challenges, even with the boot, what they have, which adds about 5 turns to the track, they still use that bus stop to slow those cars down during the carousel, no matter what's running there. Very fun track nonetheless. Again, can't wait to go back.
And then we go back to the chase races.
Yes, sir. Of course, this night it says the chase on our screen, but that's just because of the graphics. All these guys out here just having fun this evening. Regardless, this is a money race. No points involved. Going back right now, by the way, to the 9. of William Roberts Jr. He has shortened
And he
up
has.
right there to Eric Stanford, right on his bumper. Less than 0.1 seconds. He's in his tire tracks. He'll go down to the inside. Stanford will shut the door, trying to get to the cones. Nobody hit the cones this time. Stanford a little low. The 9 will arc it. I think he'll catch him a little bit out of this corner. He will, right to the back bumper. Going to the high side a little bit. A little wiggle to 24 off that corner will give that position to the 9. That is a money spot down to the inside. Stanford's going to fight for this spot because it does pay out this evening. 20 laps to go. Going to be a shootout at the 1 mile here at Phoenix.
That's some great racing right there. Great
Yes,
racing.
sir. Yes, sir. He's keeping it as steady as possible to take and get that place back. That 24 is fighting for that. But he goes a little bit high. That'll give a few extra feet to that 9. He'll gain a little bit of speed on that rear bumper coming out of 4. They'll shoot down the front stretch. Stanford to the outside will line up with the bumper of the 9 one more time. He'll try the low side to cut off a few feet, but that'll also drag that front end around. It'll slow him down a little bit, but it sure don't look like it. He's to that left rear corner again. Goes to the inside, down to the cones. Real wide goes the 9. Door to door, back behind him again. They're trying to get that arc. He's got 19 more laps to get that done for that funny spot. I think he's going to conserve to the end because that 24 just lost 6 truck lengths between him and the 9. And I think he's overused his stuff and kind of ran it out. He went way high off that corner in turn 1 to 2. Yeah, I'm agree. I think it's done for, Judd. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that those 2 extra laps or whatever it was that that William gained in the pits, it was just going to be the demise for the 24. Unfortunately, Eric's such a good driver. He's so disciplined. But you got to hang in there, you got to keep going. It's be nice to find somebody to see if they can get anything, the Mark Jackson world for David Washington. But I think being back 12 and a half seconds is going to be a tough road to hoe at this point.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Now, the thing is, again, top 3 get paid, but the 5th place spot at David Wright, he looks like he's going to be challenging at 24 in the next 5 or 10 laps here. Again, only 17 laps to go at this point, still riding along with the 9 of William Roberts Jr. He has got 10 truck lengths between him and the 24 of Stanford. All he has to do is hang on to that truck because there really isn't a lot to challenge right now. No threats from behind, as the spotters would say. No threats to the 3 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson looks like he's going to take home about $25 this evening. All he has to do is hold on because there's a lot of room between him, 11 seconds between him and the 9 right now of William Roberts Jr. You say those 2 extra laps there with the 24 of Stanford, even though Stanford was being conservative with his tires, I mean, if you think about it, every lap these tires are pretty well to the same temperature once they get to that point, as long as you're consistent. But when you start battling like that, that's when they start getting slick because you used them up. I mean, you're going to drag them so much it isn't funny. So
overheat them, and then they just can't come back. You just don't have enough time to cool them back off and get back at it. So kind of finish running what you brung.
Yep, as I say that too, by the way, back to the 42 of David Wright. It looks like he's actually closing in on a 24. He's been conservative most all night long. Not enough speed to obviously get up front, but it'll give him a 4th place position here in the next couple of laps if he keeps consistent.
Yeah, this is definitely for the winners, the bragging rights. Oh boy, these guys love to brag.
As we say that, look who's right behind the 42 of David Wright, our leader, David Washington. He might even lap this entire field if he gets a chance to, but again, he's got quite a ways to go to get to Mark Jackson. But I'm going to tell you what, 29-second laps, the 3rd place position of William Roberts Jr. is 24 seconds behind, so that makes it back around at 5-second difference between him and the leader, which is not impossible to catch him. So I think more than, 3/4 of this field is going to be a lap down by the time this race is over.
I don't know if that was necessarily a goal for the 98 tonight, but maybe he saw it, maybe his crew chief told him.
I'm riding along with the 98 right now, David Washington. He went down, still lifting at that first cone like we've talked about most all night long, but he's more hard on the brake this time. He'll go down the first cone again to turn 3. I don't hear any brake. Now I hear brake. He's down to that yellow line. The reason I say I hear brake is that motor is directly with the drive shaft, so the more you slow it down, you can hear that motor grind as it comes down. He'll do the same thing coming down the front stretch at that first cone. On the brake, pretty hard there, going into one. That allows the truck to set up to go down to that yellow line. He'll bring it out about a foot from that blue wall, back down. There's a couple more cones and fatalities as the 24 piles him up on the back stretch. But he's going to be caught by that 42
David's
and
got
David
him.
Wright.
See if you can set it up.
He's trying right there. I'm watching from the cockpit of the 98. Wright goes down to the inside of the 24 of Stanford. He sets it up. Door to door, they'll go down towards one. It'll slow both them two down enough for the 98 to catch. They'll almost touch coming out of two. The 42 a little bit of disadvantage, but he'll get it back coming down the back stretch to those cones, cutting off a few feet. Still door to door going down to 3. Not only a payout, but as you said, bragging rights, and Stanford still trying to hold on for that. The 42 goes sideways. He'll lose it and hit the inside wall. Hearing a little bit of radio chatter there. Hang on. Having a little bit of discussion between the two drivers. Not exactly sure what happened there, but I didn't see any contact. I'm not sure if you did at all, Judd.
42's calling that the 24 was blocking. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I got you. Easy enough. That's all right. 24, I think, was just running his line. That was my opinion, but from what I saw, still riding along right now, the 98 of Washington. Of course, again, for bragging rights, I understand.
2 laps ago.
Yeah, hearing that radio chatter myself. They're still having a few discussions. We're going to turn it down a little bit here so we don't get on mic. One reason is our admin, Mr. Robert McFarland, unfortunately, has left the building for this evening. But it looks like Eric Stanford's going to go another lap down. Right now, lap 193. It'll be 6 laps to go at the line as we watch our leader of 98 of Washington catching up with the 24 to put him a lap down. It'll be 3 trucks now in the lead lap once he catches him in the next couple laps. Ryan Hill.
Ryan's begging.
On the radio. Go ahead, Judd. A few words being said, and what we're hearing, by the way, is 55 Hill says, I thought you guys were going to have to pit before the end by now. And he says, well, sorry, I was just listening to the radio chatter. Again, I'm sorry about cutting the broadcast there. But David Washington, 98 to 55, had a little discussion about fuel mileage. And, well, David Washington stretched out to the end, and he put the 55 of Ryan Hill lap down. Ryan A. Hill's strategy unfortunately fell apart, about lap 148, I believe, if I'm not mistaken there. No, 151, because he came in, he was a lap short.
Okay, yep.
Keep an eye on 98 of David Washington. Only a few more times around this circle, if you want to call it a circle at that. But you know what, though? He's catching that 24 of Stanford. Not a little bit of action going on there, but he'll take and catch up to him. We'll see if we can pass him before the end, put Stanford a lap down. He'll still give Stanford bragging rights for the top 4 spot. A little lower on the line, the 98 will go. He'll cut off a few feet, get to the rear bumper, and he'll try to get to the inside of Stanford. Not this time, right to the rear bumper. Stanford just running his line like he did with the 42. We were watching that as well. He'll allow him by. There goes the leader on the inside, down the front chute, door to door at the line. He won't get him this time, but next time around, he'll be scored a lap down. This will be 3 laps to go right here. He'll come up the track a little bit skittish there. 24 almost tags him, but was able to hit the brake and make sure he continues on his way.
I only imagine the chatter in that team speak room right now.
Oh, goodness. I'm certain there is a lot going on that we're not hearing here. I can tell you that much right now. He'll complete 198 this time around. 2 laps to go on lap 199. Our leader, David Washington, at the stripe. 14 seconds on the second place of Mark Jackson. And over 27 seconds, which is almost a whole lap, on the third place of William Roberts Jr.
That's kind of ironic, you know. First, second, and third finish on the lead lap. First, second, third pays out.
Yep. I'll tell you what, I mean, the strategy this evening, fuel paid off for the 98. The 3 and the 9, there's no question about it. I really thought Ryan A. Hill had something going on there. I really did, Judd. But
Well, it was kind of interesting that David made a comment about that Ryan was racing with the cautions on. He was pit strategizing with the cautions as if they were on.
That's one thing you got to take consideration. Right now, checkered flags will be out. Our leader and winner for the evening, the 98 of David Washington, and that throwback Jex machine will take home the checkers this evening in the Clash in the Past 200.
2 wheels in the open road. I got the throttle wide open. Feel my pace. Got 100 horses between my legs. No destination, no end in sight. Just me in the open road, riding into the moonlight.
All right, folks. So yeah, obviously we have the 98 David Washington P1 and Mark Jackson in the number 3, taking home second position. William Roberts in the number 9 and took home position 3. So we got Eric Stanford in 4th, David Wright in the 42 truck, taking home in 5th. Ryan A. Hill, number 55, comes home 6th. Curtis Young, 94, will take 7th. Jeff Martin will take 8th. Harold Campbell will take 9th. Josh Bonwell, unfortunately, he'll fall into 10th tonight. He had a good run going. Robert McFarland, 11th. Just missed his top 10 finish. And Shane Paris will take home 12th. Blake Griffith, 13th. James Ross, 14th. Nick Reynolds, 15th. And then Tanner and Andrew and a couple other trucks didn't start the race tonight. Not too bad.
It was a pretty good race this evening. A little bit of, a lot of strategy paid out. And I'll tell you, these guys had to be steady. And as always, David Washington was right there at the end. Mark Jackson, great run for him this evening. Of course, in the top 3. And on the podium, 9 of William Roberts Jr. Had to fight for that third place spot towards the end with a 24 of Stanford, but pretty good job nonetheless. We'll get interviews here shortly, kind of getting these guys unstrapped, getting them out of their vehicles, and we'll take care of your top 3 here in a little bit.
Life and death in my own hands. I am my own justice. I am my own man. I never look.
All right, let's see here. We'll start with the third place spot of William Roberts Jr. Mr. William Roberts, third place this evening. Great run, great finish. We had our doubts that you were going to take that third place around a 24, but I'll tell you what, walk us through that last bitch of laps there with a 24 when you were fighting for that third place spot.
Oh, the second to last run, I figured that I could end up catching him because I did that run as well. So when he come out, he pitted a lap ahead of me, and I just tried to close the gap slowly, and that kind of ended up happening. And then I noticed I needed to save fuel, and I actually ran out across the start-finish line.
Great job, man. Either way, I'll tell you what, just keeping it steady all the way through was definitely the key this evening. Now, did you try to play out this fuel strategy like a lot of these guys did, or did you just kind of guess and follow them through?
Honestly, the way I played it was I wanted to short pit as many times as I could. That way I could try to catch whoever was in front of me, because that's the only way you was going to gain any track position, being that we didn't have any cautions tonight.
So let me ask you, did you have a pit stop that I didn't see where you didn't take tires?
Oh, no, I took 4 every time.
Okay, you just short pitted basically as much as you possibly could. I understand that. Regardless, you did a fantastic job this evening, put on a great show. Again, great final lap, not final lap, but final pass there with a 24 to take home money this night. I'll tell you what, $10 is yours. We'll get that all set up later. Anybody you want to thank this evening?
Yeah, I want to thank my family that helps me make this happen. You guys that do the broadcast, the announcing, Michael D'Amico at All Pro Broadcasting. It's fun to watch this. It's pretty good. Lazy Days Racing, the team I'm on, and I guess Quaker State tonight with the Jack Sprague throwback.
It was Jack Sprague. See, Judd, I knew I was wrong. I was calling it. Who was I calling it? I got his face right in my head again. I am at a loss for words. Regardless, Jack Sprague's throwback. He was a champion one year. Great third place finish this evening. The number 9 of William Roberts Jr. I believe that Judd Danielson has caught up with the second place of the number 3 of Mark Jackson.
Hey, Mark, you got a copy?
Judd!
Hey, buddy. Hey, great run tonight. Great run. How you doing?
Thank you. Oh, man, we pulled off a second place finish in this special non-points race. We are so super.
Uh-oh. Mark, you still there, buddy?
You got me?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Judd. Oh, man, we are so super excited about pulling home a P2 in this non-points race. I mean, man, what a track. Phoenix in the trucks. Super
slicky, super slippery.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. We had some different rules today for this race. It was no cautions. You had to keep your truck clean, and we managed to do that and bring on P2 behind that 98 team up there.
We kept a good eye on you tonight, Mark. We always knew that you're really good with your fuel mileage and taking care of your tires and stuff. Obviously we tried to throw some hitches into this racetrack and see what you guys could come home with. We brought all the winners of the year in just to see what you guys can bring to the table. So, you had a mid-pack race for the most part, and then when you got yourself up there in the front, it obviously showed. You did what you had to do to hang on to it, and super proud of you, buddy. Really nice job.
Thank you, Judd. We had a little bit of a problem on that first pit stop. I think the right front tire changer, something jammed up with the air gun. We came.
10-4.
I think we came out 7th or so. We managed to work our way back up into the top 3 or so. I was really surprised to see Curtis fall out. We were
we don't know what happened to him. Not sure yet. So we'll find out. But hey, nonetheless, you come home with a P2, a nice paying position for you tonight. Who do you want to thank out there? I know you got a bunch of fans.
Absolutely. First of all, I have to thank my sponsor, John Hedrick, Over the Top Paints and Designs. He put this Earnhardt old school throwback scheme on it. And then I absolutely have to thank my family. My fiance Kristen, my son, Mark Anthony Jackson Jr., and my granddaughter down here too, Angel Rain Jackson, and her beautiful stepmother, Taylor Stockton. Oh my goodness. It's just a total family deal to put this thing together. We're a small budget team. We're trying to come up through the ranks a little bit, and just really proud to bring home a second place finish tonight.
Yeah, Mark, you always do a great job. It's really enjoyable to watch you race. It's been a fun year, so I'm really glad to see that you got yourself a good finishing position tonight. And congratulations. That's all I can tell you. Congratulations. Real nice work.
Thank you, Judd. Well, there's a couple more people I got to thank. Got to thank Domino's TYJ Racing. I know Robert is up there busting his ass off, running this league, and D'Amico over there putting the broadcast out, and all you guys do. And, oh, my gosh, I don't know. It's just so happy to run here and run good and have a good run for once.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Well, hey, congratulations again, and we'll see you next week over at Watkins Glen, I think.
Oh, heck yeah. That's one of the best tracks in the whole world right there. We love road courses. We're going to try to mix them up there. Now, that's another one with I do believe we run it with no yellows, so the main thing there is going to be to keep that thing on the track and keep it clean.
Yep, another track that you do good at. Absolutely. All right, my friend, you have a good night. Go enjoy, celebrate. Woohoo!
Great run by number 3 of Mark Jackson, great sponsor, and he got $25 this evening for that second place. But who do we got with us now? But nobody else. But, let's see, David Washington, a 98 truck. First of all, Jegg's throwback scheme, very cool paint job, very nice black and yellow truck. I've always liked them colors on any vehicle, and I'll tell you what, you put on a killer show for them this evening, even though they don't sponsor you full time. Great job up front, David. Kind of bring us through your night, bud.
Let's say start with practice the wrong race. So I was.
Explain to the fans what you mean by that.
I actually practiced 5 flags because for some reason I had that stuck in my head this week, and I didn't no practice at all.
5 flags, a little bit of a flatter track. Well, not as flat, but most of it is an oval. This is definitely not an oval. Tell us how you came back from that practice, obviously, to win this thing.
pretty much had to really buckle down during the first practice day before qualifying and try a bunch of different things real quick to get the truck set up. And after about 15 minutes, it started feeling good at a certain setting, and I just left it at that and went off in qualifying. I thought qualifying was going to be a little quicker, but I didn't really want to overdrive it and kind of spin off a four, and which probably wouldn't have mattered if I started in the back, but I just wanted to see what I could do for keeping it in the one.
We've been watching your line most all night, and it's been consistent. With the exception of towards the tail end, we've seen you kind of lifting, not much different than what you have been, except for braking a little bit harder through the corners. Is that something you kind of feel through? I mean, what do you think? Is it something you're following the track with? I mean, or is it something that you just decided to try and suddenly it worked?
No, you definitely have to manage the tires. First part of the run, you just lift it a little bit earlier than your normal braking lifting point, and then later in the run, the truck did not change at all, so I just started giving it all it had, and went back to running my normal entry, and it really, I thought it was going to fall off a lot more than what it did, but I mean, overall, it was good.
Well, great run this evening. Anybody you'd like to thank that, is or is not on your truck this evening?
Yeah, this one's for Andy. He sat through the whole thing on the box, and we're just practicing, having fun. This is kind of the races that I enjoy because you don't have to worry about points or, trying to get away from certain people. It's just have fun, run the race, and no worries.
Want to congratulate you, by the way, not just for a first place spot, but for bragging rights and $50. You will win that. We will take and get that. I'll set up for you a little later date. We appreciate you showing up this evening, David, and do all the bragging you want to do later, buddy.
Appreciate it. Hey, I got to give a shout out to D'Amico. He sponsors my Cup car. Robert for putting this show on tonight. The no caution thing was interesting. All the drivers that showed up and finished it, actually, it was a long race, but it was fun.
And what he's talking about, sponsored his Cup car, All Pro Broadcasting, what you're watching right now. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and enjoy our races this evening from Phoenix International Raceway. This was a blast. Thank you for coming, David. Judd, anything last comments you want to say from tonight's race?
Well, it wasn't, obviously not a typical race that we put on all the time, so it was really nice to see the guys show up and give it their all. It was a tough track, and that's what we were intending to make this difficult as we could. These were all winners in this league, so we wanted to see the guys show up, give it their all, do their best, and obviously a shout out to David Washington, the 98 truck, the 98 top shelf. I mean, the gentleman he's out there, he's helping all these drivers as much as he can. You show up, you ask questions, that's the guy for you right there. So Dave, congratulations again. It's a beautiful night to watch your race. Go enjoy this one.
Absolutely no question about it. He's helped me in the past, too. Fantastic driver, well-rounded gentleman. And again, thank you for joining us this evening from Phoenix International Speedway for the Clash in the Past 200. This is Ray Richer for Judd Danielson and Robert McFarland from Out of the Trucks. We thank you for joining us this evening until next race at Watkins Glen.